Good morning, everyone. Special shout out to my fellow Texans in the audience. There we go. What a great program so far. Everyone, I'm pleased to introduce Congressman Nathaniel Moran, who has represented East Texas in the House of Representatives since 2023. With a strong commitment to public service, Congressman Moran previously served for more than 6 years as the judge of Smith County and as a member of Tyler City Council. He brings to Congress a critical understanding of how local challenges and global events are increasingly connected. In addition to serving on the House Ways and Means Committee and previously serving on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman Moran is a member of the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, where he has been a strong voice for U.S. engagement in the world and for advancing American values of freedom and generosity, all while countering the CCP's malign influence. Congressman, thank you for your dedication and tireless advocacy on behalf of Texans and all Americans. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Congressman Nathaniel Moran.
Well, thanks for that great introduction, Wayne, and thanks to Liz and all of the entire U.S. Global Leadership Coalition for bringing this event together and for the work that you do. I want you to know up front, this is the first thing I want to say to you, and this is probably where I'm going to end. You are making a difference, not just in your hometown, in your state, in the United States, in the world. You're changing futures, you're changing lives, you're providing hope, you're providing liberty. This is the message of America. This is the message of the USGLC. This is the message that I know that you are passionate about, and it's why you're taking your time to be in this room, because you have decided you will not sit on the sidelines and see this world run amok. You have decided that you are not going to sit on the sidelines and see freedom be reduced to nothing. You've decided you're going to make a difference in every ounce of the time and the energy and the talents that you have in this world. And that is significant. Thank you for that. And you can look around this room. We got business leaders, faith leaders, veterans. We've got farmers, humanitarians. We have people from all kinds of backgrounds that have said, I'm going to use my time and talents and my treasure in a way that is impactful, not just in this world, but for eternity. And that's the way that I view my calling in Congress. That's the way I've viewed it since I was in the 4th grade. This is indeed citizen advocacy in this room, and it matters more than you know. Our democracy functions at its best when people like you take action. When you decide to get engaged. I was dismayed looking at the most recent primary election in my own home state and seeing that I think the first time around we had about 9% of the people vote. And the second time around we had about 6% of the people vote. Non-engagement can have a detrimental effect. And proactive engagement can have a positive, lasting effect. And you guys know it. That's why you're doing it. That's why you're standing up for your principles and your beliefs. It's how our nation started. It's how our influence will spread across this world. It's how liberty, in fact, will spread across this world as well. I was in the 4th grade when I cast my first vote. Now, don't let that get you squirming in your seat. I cast my first vote in 1984 in my 4th grade class for Ronald Reagan in our mock election. And I still remember the crush I had on my 4th grade teacher, and I still see her today and remind her of that. And it's pretty funny that even those childhood memories of casting that vote and saying, I want to be involved, can stick with you for a lifetime. It was in that moment, it was in that 4th grade year that I got in my heart the desire to serve and to make a difference. I don't know when it was for you, what moment it was, that moment of truth when something sparked your passion, something sparked your heart, your mind, your emotions that said, yeah, I just don't want to do something ordinary in this life. I don't think anybody in this room woke up this morning and said, I want to be average. I want to have average impact. If you did, now's the time probably for you to exit. Find a different group to be part of. Do something different. You can go play golf today if you want to. But the USGLC is not here for average people or average results. Not at all. But I was so inspired by Ronald Reagan back in the fourth grade because he understood that something I believed in my core: America is not just a nation. It's an idea. It's a set of principles. It's a beacon of liberty. And when America leads, the world is safer, it's freer, and it's more prosperous. No doubt. But when America retreats, our adversaries fill that vacuum with consequences that are far costlier than the leadership that we abandon. That's not theory. It's inevitable fact. And it's one of the reasons that I sought a role in public service, because I believe firmly that we have a moral obligation to be proponents of life and liberty in this world, and we shouldn't be quiet or shy about it. We should stand courageously, boldly, and strongly for life and liberty throughout this world. Do you agree with me? But it's not just about the rest of the world. It is truly, you can say, hey, even if we took just a myopic view of America, it's about our national security. It's about the freedoms that we enjoy. It's about the partnerships and the alliances that are necessary for us to be able to do the things that we want to do here domestically. You know it, and I know it as well. Reagan called it peace through strength, but it starts with peace through presence. Because strength is not only a carrier group, it is a diplomat in a fragile nation before it becomes a failed state. It's an economic investment that creates stability. It is the U.S. flag on medicine or food that changes the futures, the lives, the hopes, the attitudes of people everywhere about how they perceive the United States. Strength is America showing up with all of our tools before our adversaries fill that void. Roosevelt understood the voice of American leadership was not just an advantage, it was a responsibility. I have a speech that I give that I talk about pretty ardently, that with liberty comes responsibility. And when we do not exercise the liberty that we're given with responsibility, we lose that liberty, and others may not ever find it. America's moral authority, its economic reach, its generosity, these are force multipliers that no adversary can match. That's what the USGLC understands, and it's what I want your members, that's what I want you to convey to your members of Congress today as you get on the Hill. It's going to be really important. You may come and go Washington, D.C. and say, does it really make a difference? It does. It makes a huge difference. Let me give you some examples specifically about the difference that the USGLC and other groups aligned with you have made in my policy making and the things that we're doing on the committees that I serve on. Ways and Means, China Select, I'm on ethics. I had the Transatlantic Legislators Dialogue, which is an interparliamentary exchange between the EU Parliament and the United States Congress. And I'm proud to be able to do that, to be a voice, not just here in America, but worldwide. I just got back from a trade codel to the Czech Republic and Estonia, headed to lead a bipartisan delegation to Cyprus and Spain in about 2.5 weeks. These are the kinds of opportunities where the voices of not just Americans, but as I look at my Texans back there, I love to tell my folks back in East Texas, your voice matters. Your voice matters not just in East Texas, but around the world. Let's go be a strong voice around the world for the values that we fought for and that we defend here in the United States. But on the CCP committee, we recognize the critical nature of critical minerals: lithium, cobalt, rare earths, the materials that power our defense, our electric grid. But here's what some folks don't know about Northeast Texas, where I serve. We're like lithium central in the United States. If you haven't heard of the Smackover region, it runs right through Northeast Texas, and we have some of the most dense amounts of lithium that are found anywhere in the United States. And we could be a leader, a world leader in this, and we're trying to do that. We just filed a bill called the Army Organic Industrial Base Partnership Act that allows for public-private partnerships, allows for mineral processing, for development, for extraction on Army bases by private groups. Right now, that's not allowed. Lots of opportunity, including at the Red River Army Depot, which is right adjacent to my district, where we could be doing a lot of this lithium extraction and processing to become less dependent on China. That's really important stuff, and it makes common sense. Why not lead if we have the resources? We've also got, we filed an act I like to call the Dada Act, and I like to say to China it's the Hoosier Dada Act. It's the Deterring Adversarial Access to Americans' Data Act, and it keeps China away from those private, confidential pieces of information that so many software companies and so many now technology companies are getting every day from each one of you. And on my Ways and Means Committee, the way we approach that is through a tax bill. And we said, if you enjoy all those great tax provisions that we put in the One Big Beautiful Bill last year, we're not going to allow you to continue to enjoy those, research and development, the bonus depreciation, expensing, all those great business-friendly benefits, if you are partnering with a foreign entity of concern that owns or controls software that you're using that collects the data of Americans, we're not going to let you enjoy those. Because we want to incentivize businesses to find partners and alliances with people that we trust, not give information to people we don't trust. And so that is a very widespread bill that I can tell you made our phones ring off the hook almost immediately. Businesses were calling going, now, hold on now. And you know what? It makes them nervous. You know why? Because they're engaged in relationships that they shouldn't be in. I've got a 19-year-old daughter. Guess what? I'm always watching out for relationships she shouldn't be in, right? That's the way fathers should be. The people in this room I know are concerned about the relationships that the United States should not be in. Those toxic relationships around the world, they are no different than the little toxic relationships that our sons and daughters sometimes find themselves in and need to quickly find themselves out of. And you got to give them a little bit of incentive to do that. On the Ways and Means Committee, also part of the reason why I love serving on that committee, even though I deeply miss my Foreign Affairs Committee, is the trade potential to be in the ear of our trade representatives. Ambassador Greer, I know, has got his hands full, and I think he's doing a really good job of trying to get to the end point that we need to, and that's freer and fairer trade. But I'm a free trade guy. Looking back at the Reagan influence in my life, I can't help but be a free trade guy. But we've got to say to the rest of the world, but we got to do this on an even playing field. So as part of the trade committee, we are in his ear all the time about the things that we need to do. So if you've got issues when it comes to trade, when it comes to foreign policy issues, when it comes to CCP issues, I want you in our ear. Because my legislative assistant, Hayden, where's Hayden at? He's right back there in the back. Don't let him get out without giving him a card, because we sit down and we want to listen to you about the good ideas. You're the experts. You're the ones that have committed your lives to this, and we are just at the point where we can put it into policy and to practice. So don't let us escape today or in the weeks to follow without hearing your strong voice, because we want to be your voice in Congress to make sure that we are doing the things we need to do. Every investment we make through entities like the DFC and a partner nation is a strategic choice to strengthen an ally rather than to cede that ground to Beijing. We know that the DFC invests alongside private capital, and there is a great return on this investment. I tell people all the time, it's not an expense, it's an investment, and there's great return on that investment. This year, I put an appropriations request in for $300 million for ready-to-use therapeutic food. I mentioned that earlier about having it's really important. You know, it's nutrition for chronically malnourished children in active war zones, and we know that those active war zones, about 80% of those war zones overlap with areas where there is this chronic malnutrition. The two go hand in hand. We can stabilize with medicine and with food and with goodwill and hope that is everlasting, that creates this future for the United States that is safer, that is freer. Why? Because we don't have people in those countries then having to look towards terrorist groups to get their food, to get their jobs, to get what they need for their family in that moment. They know they can depend on the United States, and they don't forget that. That's what we need to continue to do. So that request made it to the national security package, $300 million for aid produced in the United States by our farmers here in the United States with our flag on it. Can you even just imagine the return on that small investment around the world? That's great goodwill. That's great investment. We can't afford to say we can't afford it. We can't do that. Those are the kind of mistakes, those are short-sighted mistakes. And the people in this room I know, and here's where I'm going to end, I know that you are not into short-term talking points. You are into long-term solutions. I said to my staff when I got here, I came here to make sound policy, not sound bites, which in and of itself is a good sound bite. But it's true. We're here for sound policy, not sound bites. And you guys are too, and I know that. So just let me encourage you. I want you to know from the outset that we are working hard to do the things that you want us to do. We're going to continue to do that. It's the important work that has eternal purpose, has eternal impact, and it's the kind of thing that's driven by a moral desire to see this world free and liberated from the bondage that is out there that is being promoted by foreign entities of concern like China and Russia and Iran, who now has less of an ability to do that, thankfully. But we are so thankful that you're standing in the gap worldwide. So thank you so much. Appreciate your time today. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. And thank you for the work of the USGLC. Keep it up. Godspeed.